You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffens, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
All right, this is our Western Hunt Expo first.
Yeah.
All right, we got Ryan, Dustin, and Jaxon with Hunt Stealth.
Yes, sir.
It is it Friday?
It's Friday, and it's
Friday.
about 10:45.
Yeah, we spent the last like
Doors
2.5
just
hours trying to
opened,
get this stuff all set up.
Yeah, doors just open. Ton of people out here today.
Huge turnout.
And we met these fellas.
Yeah, one of the first people we ran into, fellow podcasters. So appreciate you guys hopping on, man.
I appreciate you having us.
Yeah, so you
this
guys
will be
are
a first. This is the first time I'm on the other end of the podcast.
This is the first time you're a guest?
Yeah, first time I've been a guest, yeah.
We are your first in many occasions.
That's right. That's right.
Many occasions.
So tell us a little bit about Hunt Stealth. How'd you guys get started? What's it about?
I'll let Jaxon tell kind of how the whole podcast thing came about.
Well, we are really new. We're 4 or 5 months old. Been releasing podcasts since last November-ish.
Right on.
October 4th.
October. A little bit longer, but
That's his November-ish.
Yeah.
November-ish, yeah. But we started hunting 4 years ago. Didn't grow up hunting. Wasn't something we were accustomed to. Always loved the outdoors.
Your dad was a jerk, though.
Yeah. After 15 years of begging him to go down to Wild Arrow and get me a bow, finally after I graduated, did it on my own.
There you go.
And so,
Had to earn it.
yeah, that's right. But
That's right.
that's how we got into hunting. Got really into archery
Okay.
and bow hunting. So that's how we started. And then we started.
That's all we're
So
still.
did
That's
you-
all I'm still doing.
Did
is
you
just
piggyback
archery.
off of him? Like he wanted to do the hunt and you saw how much fun he was
Well,
having?
He came to me and he was like, Dad, I want to do this. He's like, I bought a bow. And he's like, dude, I just barely got
Hold up. You're his dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the relation here?
That's what I said.
We can get into that eventually.
Okay.
There's no relation, but
Gotcha.
Now there is.
It's just,
Now
I mean,
there is.
they don't know our story,
Yeah.
but
You wanna
there's
explain it?
relation all three of us too. So
Okay.
it's kind of funny.
Well,
yeah.
let's get to that because I want to hear it. But yeah, so Jaxon had come to me and he's like, Dad, I bought this bow, and I mean, we grew up. Like, we spent a lot of time together. Like I coached baseball. Like the guys that we were just over there talking to with, like we coached together. Kids that we played, they played college ball and that. And anyway, Jackson's just like, hey, like I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, thinking I've got myself an out. I'm like, let's go put in, if we can both draw out the same unit for a mule deer, I'm like, I'll go get a bow. And I'm like, I'm off the hook.
Yeah, we're not drawing this.
I'm like, I'm off the hook. And so anyway, it was like July or something. We were up at the cabin up at Bear Lake, and we're out on the water, and I opened it up, and I was like, did you get the notification? He's like, what did you draw? What did you draw? And I was like,
I'm buying a bow.
I'm buying a bow. So we went down and got it, and for me, like, it was something fun to do with him now that baseball was kind of over.
Yeah.
Right.
And I went out and I started shooting, and I was like, this is fun.
Absolutely.
And then started working, like, on the range, and I'm like, oh, I can reach out and, like, hit my mark at 100 yards. Like, I kind of have, like a natural ability. Like, I was pretty good at hitting my target.
Yeah.
I've yet to hit a live target, but
Yeah.
but that's a little bit harder when the target's moving.
There's
But
a
yeah.
little more factors there. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was kind of how we had got started in the hunting game, and then we work in advertising, and we worked with some other clients, and we went out and we were talking to a potential client, and they loved our idea. We put together like a full 1-year plan for them.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we're going to do it. And we're like, sweet. But like, we're going to do it on our own. And so we come home, and Jackson's like, this is BS. He's like, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. It's like, we bust our butt, and we put a plan. They go and initiate it themselves. And he's like, I've always wanted to start a hunting brand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's great. We've got tons of pictures for us to share with how successful we are at hunting. I'm like, how do we get into this without, knowing what we're doing? Like, we're brand new. And anyway, and then I've got some clients I've worked with that are like, hey, you should just start a podcast for people that are new to hunting. So that's really what our podcast is.
Right on.
Is for people that are new to hunting. And we've had some really cool guests on. We had, like, I got lucky and got Donnie Vincent on to be like my first guest, and Like, I don't know, like, where you go from there. I mean, maybe Cam Haynes is next.
Something, yeah.
I'm, like, terrified he's going to have me, like, run up, like, Mount Pisgah with
Joe
him.
Rogan.
Yeah.
You want to show you're doing the
Carry the rock.
I
You got to carry the rock.
I quit.
Anyway, so to kind of come full circle on that, so Jaxon and I, like, we started working on this, and I was like, okay, who do we know? And, like, so Dustin and his cousin Quinn is also a partner. He's not here today. It's Valentine's or something, and he's like, I'm going to spend some time with my wife. And I'm like,
Probably the smartest
the smart
decision.
one. Out
He's
of
the
all six
smart
of us.
one, absolutely.
He's going to be the one that stays married after this.
Right.
But anyway, so I called Dustin. Like when Jaxon, I'm like, hey, let's do it. And Jackson's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm calling Dustin because Dustin's got like a pretty good following in the hunting space. He's been doing it a long time, and Quinn and Dustin have kind of been like mentors, like helping us along the line. And I was like, hey, do you guys want to do it? And this is me talking a lot. So
I was going to say, you called me, but my cousin Quinn, he didn't know that I knew you. But I had met you at
when we were moving him out.
We were moving him out, yeah. And so me and Quinn, we actually had, our social media following, and we actually tried to start a business and a following and that kind of stuff. We sold some shirts and some hats and had a couple of sponsors at one point, but it never really took off. And we kind of, we had kids and
Sure.
Life.
career,
Life got in the way.
dead heat in our career and that kind of stuff. And the weird part is I just gotten done listening to a podcast, and it wasn't a bad podcast, but I was like, man, there needs to be something different out there. It's the same thing over and over again. So he called me literally hours later and, mentions all this, and, has all the connections with iHeartMedia and iHeartRadio that he works on. And I just got super excited. I was actually had all these thoughts of like, oh, I'm going to quit my day job and go be an outfitter. And I was trying to figure out how to like,
it's coming,
make a living doing something else. And then so he called me, and it just stirred up all kinds of like emotions and passion and that kind of stuff. So
we were talking when we were walking somewhere else, and it's kind of like that conundrum of like, what do you want to do with? And you guys are so new. It's just weird. You guys are new with the podcast side. Like, where do you want to go with it, and what do you want this to be your full-time thing? Do you not want it to be your full-time thing? And we were talking about the stories, and I was telling him about our Tales of the Chase episodes and how we would go out to Colorado and we'd sit around the campfire and we'd bullshit for hours every night after we'd be done hunting.
Well, most of us stayed sitting. Some of us didn't make it.
I mean, I fell a few times.
And like, we're like, can you imagine if we recorded this stuff?
Yeah.
How awesome it would be. And, that's how ours kind of started. But we like to hear, I don't really know of a lot of them that there's relation. Like, I didn't know you guys were father and son and your cousin.
Yep.
We're in-laws. All three of us are in-laws to each other.
Okay.
So cool. He's my brother-in-law. He's married to my little sister. And I'm married to his first cousin.
He's my cousin-in-law.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So
that's a good way to keep an eye on.
So are those
out
two
for your
related
sister.
then?
no, they're not.
No, so no
I'm
relation
the
there.
commonality between these two.
You're the middleman.
Yeah, I'm the middleman. Yeah, but
And it's just you three on this.
just us
Yep.
three. Yep.
We
Yeah,
got,
and then, of
we
course,
got a lot of
guests.
buddies that like kind of support us and help us, and
Yeah.
they do a lot of stuff with
Special
us.
guests.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Guest
repeat
host, we like
guests,
to call them. Yeah.
I mean, they're passionate about
Friends of the
outdoors and
show.
stuff and have good
Yeah.
knowledge, so we bring them on and tell their stories along with ours.
Yeah, do a lot of hunting trips, and kind of our core hunting group that we hunt together. We do a lot of coyote tournaments and that sort of thing, and we got our groups and stuff. So a lot of good buddies that tag along with us on this.
So going
journey.
back though to archery, but these guys, they're our guests here. Archery. So you picked up the bow first.
What was your
Okay.
first bow?
So what are your guys' first bows? That's what I want to
Jaxon,
know.
do not go Zuckerberg right now.
I'll try not to. So my first bow was the Matthews V3.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good bow.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're correct.
Anyway,
Good choice.
and the reason I went with the Matthews, so I was doing roofing and siding for a company that I've been with outside of high school for a while that I no longer do. But all of them had bows, and after work, they'd all be in the back of the shop shooting their bows, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
You were just sitting there doing nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, I need one of those, and I need to get an elk with it.
Absolutely.
So went down to Wild Arrow the next day, picked up the Matthews V3 because it's what they had in stock, and I shot it. Like I liked the look of it at the time over all the other bows, so went with that. And I like the nicest things. I don't like to. I mean, it's
you
a
like
it's
what
a
you like,
struggle.
man.
You have expensive taste. is what
Yeah.
you like.
Yes.
You like what you like.
You should see his wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so picked that up, got all the accessories, everything, just started shooting.
Well,
all
hold
the
on,
time.
Hold on a second. you skipped past the first time you shot your bow.
Yes. Okay.
That's
first
that's
time.
a funny story.
After I got the bow, got it all, fitted, everything, peep sight set, went back to the shop, to go shoot with all the guys, and it's set up where the back of the shop, it goes the back of the shop, then a train track, then the City Public Works building.
You hit the City Public Works building, didn't you?
Well, kind
Let
of.
him get there.
Luckily,
Ish.
it's where they store the snow plows and all that good stuff. So they had a big pile of salt. And I had started off with a hinge release, which was the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
That's what all the people that I was working with had been shooting. They're like, this is going to be, it's the best.
They're
most
probably all
comfortable.
going after you went and bought it. They're like, watch this.
Yeah. Anyways,
Got this kid.
we've got the target set up, and there's like a little ditch between the back of the parking lot and the train track, so the target's just set up back there, which is a terrible idea. But I draw back, and I get halfway back. Luckily, it wasn't a full draw, but I get halfway back, and I'm up too.
Yeah.
Because I'm new, and it just goes
Starts
off.
with the old high draw.
Yeah.
And it is,
You can hear the.
yeah.
Oh shit!
And it's a white, and it's just, you can see right through. So I saw the green fletchings and the salt.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay.
at least it's salt, man.
could've been
At least
worse.
it's salt.
Yeah.
It's like, do I wait for the sun to go down to go and get it?
Yeah. Hopped the fence really quick, ran over there,
Yeah.
grabbed my arrow, ran
Dodged
back,
the train
and
on
I
the way
left.
back.
The old walk of shame back.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways,
We've all been there, man.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah, but it took me a few days to get comfortable to shoot again.
Yeah.
So I went and got the Wise Guy. Love that release. It's what I still shoot.
Right on. Right on.
What
And
about Dad? What do you?
Yeah, what'd you pick up?
I went and bought the Cam Haines signature Hoyt Ventum 33.
You didn't.
Oh, man. Didn't mess
You
around.
didn't fuck around. You just said I'm going after.
Yeah. Expensive taste too. I'm like, I'm gonna go after it, but yeah, it felt a little bit weird now that like I'm rocking a Cam Haines thing. I feel like a little bit, like a groupie. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it
You
is.
put your pinky up a little bit when you
But,
shoot. Yeah.
yeah. I jumped, do a little kick after I hit a target.
But that's the Hoyt,
yeah,
right?
I got
Well, the
the
good
Hoyt.
thing is when you get a Cam Haines anything, you automatically get in better shape.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Dude, the
He
crazy.
rubs off on you no matter what. You just don't
That's
know
right.
it, but you can run faster. I guarantee you. than
Oh,
you used
I
to be able
guarantee
to.
you I can run. And it is. Well, that's the thing is like we went out and started climbing up these slopes on the mountain, and I'm like,
I got to hold my bow. Now, okay. Now,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the point now where it's like I've lost some weight. I've lost probably about 25 pounds of fat. I still got a little bit to go, but like I felt really good this year. I mean, we took we could jump into that story, but we went way back country. I mean, it's just in Davis County, which is not too far from where we live, but yeah, like we were able to keep pushing, and I felt good that I had to stop a couple times. I'm like, you good? You all right? Like we get. I mean, it was steep. It was like a 45 incline,
Yeah.
like
Bushwhacking
brush
up
oak.
to our
It
shoulders.
was bushwhacking shoulder height. But I was proud of my conditioning. Yeah. So
That's
yes,
awesome.
thank you, Cam, for.
Yeah.
I mean, he has inspired a lot of people to get into it. I mean, when you start getting
100%.
into hunting, you start looking around.
Well, I
and-
mean, the shoot your bow every day deal.
Yep. We
Like,
did that for
lot
a
of,
while. I mean,
yeah, a lot of
I fell
people
off a little
gets
bit.
on that, and it just makes you a better hunter. I mean, that's all that really matters. That's what he does, is he
Yeah.
pushes people to be better.
Well, and
You
it's
know?
interesting too. Like one of the things, just like I have ADHD, shocker, right? But
Guilty.
but when I get out, and I told my wife when I shoot my bow every day. Even if I go just take like one shot, I try and just go out front yard, like 20-yard shot. But just going out there, and it kind of reminds me. Do you guys remember like For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner?
Oh, yeah.
Like clear the mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of what it does to me for the day. It kind of like sets the tone for the day for me. It just helps me because when you go out there and you get locked in, you kind of have to block everything else out.
Oh, for sure.
And so I've been able to take that and apply that to a whole bunch of other aspects of my life,
Right.
which have been, super, super cool. It's been fun to see just like me as a person kind of like holding into, something better. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean,
That's what
you've
Dustin
been
tells-
hunting
yeah.
for a long time.
Not like a crazy long time. So
Okay.
me and my cousin, our family's been hunting like eastern Utah for like 35 years.
Okay.
So we had some connections there on how to get into animals. But we started with rifle, I want to say like 2014-ish, but my cousin talked me into buying a bow, and I don't even know the name. It's a Hoyt, but I don't even know the version of the – I just know I still shoot it today, and he's trying to talk me into a Matthews this year.
Well, I'm a gearhead. He's got the Hoyt Power Max.
That's exactly what it is.
See, I don't even know what it is.
There's one in every group. There's a gearhead in every group.
Yeah. He's our guy.
All I know is I need a new bow at this point.
There you go.
But my cousin Quinn, he talked me into it, and I was like, dude, you are crazy. I don't want to buy a bow. Like, we have trouble getting into, tagging out on a rifle.
Right.
And so he talked me into it.
Trying to screw ourselves even more here.
He talked me into it, and then that was all she wrote after that. Like,
more opportunity, more time.
We got into a rut fest, and
dude, once you get that,
and after that I was like, okay, this rifle stuff, I'll do it, but it's not going to work. I got to figure it out with the bow.
Yeah.
Right. And Quinn, he's the toughest guy I've ever met, and so what he loves about it was that it was so hard, and so it just put a fire under me, and I'm like, we have got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And the reward when you do tag out, you're like, holy crap, I'm just not going to go back to rifle hunting it. Nothing against rifle hunting. It's just that it was just like we wanted to do it the hard way.
We'll pull out the boomstick.
Yeah, so we do it too. We did it last year.
Our passion is definitely bow hunting, but our rifle season's November for deer anyways, and we would pull out the boomstick for sure. And then we were talking earlier, we're big coyote hunters. Nothing wrong with pulling out the gun.
Oh,
man.
absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about the podcast itself. How can people listen? What do you guys, how many episodes are we in now? You said you only been doing it for a few months now.
Yeah.
So
we've got.
How can people check it out?
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So you can go to our website, huntstealth.com. We've got links to the podcast on there. If you go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart,
all your podcasting
platforms, you can find it. It's just the Hunt Stealth podcast. We're doing 2 episodes a week.
Ooh, right on.
Yeah, I got a wild hair up my ass.
Getting ambitious up here.
I'm like, I love this. Let's
do
more of it.
Time.
Dustin helps coordinate a lot of the podcast interviews and that, and he's got a ton of connections as well. Dustin's really connected in the hunting industry, so he's been really good about doing that. And he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that?"
That's awesome.
And so they're about an hour long. And we just have a blast. I have all guests on.
Yeah.
We'll do one episode a month where it's the crew gets together and we kind of talk about our upcoming plans, what we're working on, and things like that. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and we really enjoy it. You should. One story that I want to make sure to tell. We bumped into Ashton. Was it Ashton? When we walked in yesterday, what was his name?
Ashton.
Was Colton? I forget his name.
Awesome.
Anyway, there's a hunt story. There's a story where I don't know. You've never met him, but he's been talking with you. You don't know what we're talking about. You know who he is. You guys talk, but you guys had
He's the guy that hunts at the same spot that you do. And he messaged you on Instagram. That's what he told me.
After the black. So anyway, he was hunting.
Dude, so many people message me, and I just forget.
So anyway,
I'll have to figure it out.
Here's the you'll know who he is. But anyway, there's a story where it's a super funny story because we have another thing where we went out, and I don't know how you guys are on time, but
we're good.
Dustin,
this SD card runs for a while.
Okay. So Dustin and Quinn were up hunting elk in the Uintas.
I think I know who you're talking about. He hunts the same area.
Yes.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. But
it took me a minute.
Yeah,
because
we just said that.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me. I saw a kid over there that looked like him, and that's kind of what it reminded me. But tell the hunting story about what happened. Your experience up there with another predator.
With another hunter or with the elk?
The bear.
Oh,
Come on, man. Do you want me to tell it?
So I have elk
this
on
is
my
your story.
I got elk on my mind right now. I'm like, when I called in that elk for Quinn or
Well, so hang on. Let me.
So the bear story.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to stop you for a second. Well, I'll let you finish, and this is why it's funny. Go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm terrible.
So I can tell the story real quick, but no. I'm wondering what happened because you ran into Ashton.
I'll tell you later. Just tell the story.
Well, anyways.
There's a bear shit in the woods.
More like he made me shit in the pants.
More like, does a man shit in the woods?
Yes.
But no, had kind of like, we go down this canyon. It's an 8 mile trek down to. We go way high and we drop down and we hike in and we hunt all day, and we usually get into elk, and whatnot. Like I said, we've been hunting there for 35 years, my family, and very rarely do they see like a bear. I think they've seen a couple,
maybe
here
a few
and there.
times.
Yeah. Anyways, long story short, we were going down, and it was probably like 8:30 in the morning, and the sun was starting to come up, and I started to get hot. And so I started, eating snacks and delayering. So I wasn't like really ready, but I had food out, and that's the key to the story, because I thought this bear ended up smelling the food. But what happened was it's so loud. So I put all my stuff away, threw my stuff in my pack, went up this hill, and my cousins, they were down below me. So it's this big canyon, and I knew I was higher than him, and I was kind of going up at this ridge to kind of go down, and the canyon kind of goes like this. So anyways, the bear was up here, and I didn't know it at the time, so I went up, and my cousins are like cow calling down here, and I had just had food out. But anyways, I heard this loud thrashing and whatnot, and usually when we hear that, it's elk.
Sure.
Thrashing
And
a
so
tree.
we had the boomsticks out. I threw up my 7mm. And literally full speed. I mean, this was a big black bear. He was full speed right at me. Just
shit.
And I just reacted. I wasn't gonna. I was like,
He shit his pants.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm
Rightfully
just
so.
like,
Right.
and if it was just walking, I wouldn't have done anything. I just would have watched it. But it was full speed right at me. Like I could see, like he couldn't run straight because there's so many trees. I could see him go like hovering around trees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap! He smelt my food. He's coming after me. He was totally coming right towards me. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to kill it.
Right.
Shoot high. So I literally shot right above it.
It's like the Lenny Pepper button. I don't want to kill the animal.
Yeah.
Keep your distance.
But anyways, I was like, oh, I'll shoot and it'll go away. And and this was like within seconds when I saw it, because
Like how
I didn't
close,
realize
how
the
close
speed.
are we talking at this point?
So this was probably 50 yards.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
He's
Close
like on top of you.
He was like
already.
on
enough.
top of me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was loud.
Yeah.
It was so loud. Like it's like really rocky, and he was going over all these rocks and stuff. And so I shot above him. He's still coming at me, and I can see him in my peripheral vision. And I'm like, my gun gets jammed, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm like, holy crap.
This is how it ends.
Like, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I'm going to have to, like, I just remember thinking in my mind, okay.
Fight this bear.
he's like
I was like,
Revenant.
and there's with the
Revenant.
Grizz, you want to play dead.
Encino.
Yeah.
With the Grizz, you want to play dead. But I mean, he was a brown, but he was black bear, but he would brown
Right,
cinnamon
sure.
color. And so I remember seeing him in my peripheral vision and being like, holy cow, he's coming at me, and I could see him. And by the time he got 12 yards from me, full speed, and was like going around this tree right towards me. And I just remember like seeing my bullet drop down, and I remember thinking in my mind, get this effing bullet in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So I put down, and I just kind of shot in his direction to just get him out of there, and I shot. And he might not have attacked me or whatever, but I was just trying to get him away.
Sure,
So I kind of
sure.
shot in his direction.
So he was
went
just
that
like
way,
a
and he
few
went
yards
that way.
away by the end of it.
Yeah, and so just spooked me.
Oh
But,
wow!
That
Oh,
that
that's
is
crazy, man.
that's one of those stories you're like, why do I do this?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to kill it or anything like that. I just reacted, and because I wasn't. I didn't replay it in my mind before it happened. I had an elk on my mind.
Sure. Right.
So when it happened, I just reacted, and it spooked me. So
That's crazy.
Well, you're not dead, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it out alive.
My wife didn't like that story when I called her that
Oh,
night.
I bet not.
She was like, "Are you?
You don't
gonna
tell
hunt
that,
again?"
dude. You don't tell that until you get home.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But then
I fought a bear, babe.
I wish I would have fought
Be
it
ready.
by hand.
Yeah.
This wasn't the case.
bear
You know, but
up.
bears can do the fake charge too. I don't know if it was doing that.
Yeah,
or
the
going
bluff
after my-
charge or whatever.
The bluff
What he was
charge. I don't
doing.
know. I
man.
just reacted.
If it gets within a few yards, I'm probably just going to be like, yeah, I'll pay the fine.
It's been
I
a good
guess.
life.
You know.
Yeah, just kick it.
Well, so hey, and conversely, I know we're kind of going to share this episode on ours as well.
Sure.
For our audience, why don't you share a little bit about what you guys do, and
What's the story? What's the connection with Ashton then? With that story.
I'll tell
Oh.
you later.
Okay.
Off air.
Yeah. All right.
But
So yeah, the Missouri Woods and Water podcast. We got Nate and 2 douchebags that are here sometimes.
He's so mature, right?
D1, D2.
Yeah.
But no, we've been we're about actually the episode. I can't guarantee this, but this episode that we are recording with you right now is the 250th that we have recorded. I'm not sure it'll be number 250 depending on how things go this week.
Yeah, how it lays out.
But we're about 250 episodes in, almost 5 years, and we talk about stuff that's related to the state of Missouri, but not always. We like to go out west. We mainly hunt whitetail, elk, and coyotes is our main bread and butter. We have talked about other things, trying to learn, educate ourselves on, other types of hunting like duck hunting and goose hunting. But
I do some turkey hunting. I'm not
a
good
little bit
at
of turkey
it.
hunting,
I do turkey hunting.
But we have a lot of guests
fishing.
on, really good guests. We have
And then us. Really good guests.
other
and then
podcasts. We love
you guys
one
been
of our
great.
episodes. We call it the Tales of the Chase episode, which is I was telling Dustin about earlier. Just a story, where we're just it could be Cam Haynes would be fine. I'd like him to come on and tell a story, or just an first kid with their first deer. We've had Micah's son on a couple months ago. He killed his first deer.
That's awesome.
We got. It just depends on what we do. We got a buddy when he was 40 years old, decided to go hunting for the first time, killed his first deer. He came on the show and told the story. Just, all kinds of stuff. People like hearing regular what we are, which is average Joes.
I like to hear that
Talk
most.
about that sort of stuff. So we do like to have industry experts on.
And we all have different
And
interests.
average people.
Nate and Micah like stories a lot. I like information.
He likes learning
I like
something.
learning stuff out of them. So we're a good balance. We try to get people to teach us things, but also people to tell us their experiences. So it's
that's awesome. Yeah, it's I think it's super fun. It's a really fun industry to be a part of, and being able to hear and share different stories. Like Anthony Dorsett, he taught me a new term. He goes, you have adult onset hunting, because I've been doing it for 4 years. I started when I'm 41, so I'm 45 now, and I'm by no means. I don't even pretend to be an expert.
Right.
I'm going to call you when I kill my first animal, and I'll be like, okay,
Guess what?
Now
I
what
did?
do
guess what I did? Yeah. How do I quarter this thing
How do
out?
I gut this thing or get it out of here? Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you come here, you get at the expo like this, and you're just surrounded by people that just share a similar passion, and it's a ton of fun. So
Awesome. Well, Ryan, Dustin, Jaxon with Hunt Stealth, thanks for coming on. I remembered your name.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on, guys, and you're being our first Western Hunt Expo recording.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
And
Thanks for
joining us
having
for
us.
the show.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right.
We'll see you, boys.
See you.
See you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. Hey, I have a favor to ask. If you would and you enjoy this podcast, head on over to wherever you consume it and leave us a review. It's going to help us get this pumped out to more people that might be interested in hearing podcasts like this.